Welcome to 2Cents FC. I'm your host, Amobi Okugo, back again with my guy, L. Each week, we'll be talking with individuals from around the soccer world, learning about their stories and getting their unfiltered thoughts and opinions. This week is just me and L. It's been a while. There's been a lot of things happening behind the scenes. We can't wait to show you guys, can't wait to share with you guys, our 2 Cents family. But this week, we'll be catching up on all soccer news from the past couple weeks. As you guys have known, we've been out of commission for quite some time, but we're back here, back today. L, how you been?
Man, it's been busy, but I've been good though. Like, you've been on set working on some stuff in the background, so hopefully we'll be able to show you guys that really, really soon. Announcement season is coming.
I saw. Can you give us?
Announcement season is coming. Can't give
you
you nothing yet.
Not even a little teaser.
Can't give you nothing yet, but trust and believe. Announcement season is coming. We've been working. I've been talking my shit on Twitter. I'm gonna back it up. We've been working. So yeah, man, just busy working. Kids in school, doing well. Yeah, just been moving, man.
No, that's fine.
Been traveling.
No, that's what it's all about, man. So
it's been up with you.
Nah, so I mean, it's the thick of the season right now. So playoffs, playoff push. So it's gonna be a battle.
Make it?
Yeah, I think we'll make it. I think we got a good way. I mean, it's cool to see what it's like on paper, but you still got to play the game. So we'll see. But I think we should be good. I think we should be good.
Okay, for sure. All right, cool. So let's jump right into this. We got a lot of stuff. A lot has happened in the like 3-4 weeks now since we've been going. We're gonna try to touch as much as we can. Can't hit everything. So I tried to pull out some of the most interesting pieces that we could work on. So first up, Yo Gotti, Memphis rapper, entrepreneur, philanthropist Yo Gotti officially joins DC United ownership group. So recently it was announced that he'll be one of the new members of DC United's ownership group. He joins fellow businessmen Adam Jerry, Jake Silverstein, and Joe Mamo in this latest round, along with NFL pro Mark Ingram II, who joined earlier in the year. So Amobi, what are your thoughts on the increase of Black athletes and entertainers buying into the league?
No, I love it. First and foremost, cool question. So Mark Ingram doubled down on his initial investment. He got in again. Is that
No, he came in earlier.
Okay.
I don't think we talked about it before.
Okay, respect. Yeah, so I think it's important. We talk about our diversity and like growing the game within the urban communities. The urban communities, basically, the minorities. And this is how you do it. So if Yo Gotti, Mark Ingram, there's other players, across the league, Kevin Durant of the world, James Harden. If we can see more of us, not only on the field, but, in the front office, in the owner's suites, that's what it's all about. So I'm interested to see how they integrate Yo Gotti into the community, into the club, and outside of just like playing his music before the games and shout outs. I want to see how they can like really incorporate some of his business mind. He's done a lot of great things, outside of just the music, to incorporate and integrate the community. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm definitely excited about it.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a smart move on both of their ends. On Gotti's end, seeing the valuations of these teams going up, like easy money right there. Like you get in. Like they're not done expanding yet, so
exactly
easy money, easy return on your investment. So very smart investment. He actually said his son got him into the game. So it's smart for him to recognize that it's a growing market and capitalize on that. And then from DC side, it's smart to kind of bring in, a notable name in the music industry, in the rap game, essentially to try and reach some of that audience that you may not be reaching right now. Everybody knows Atlanta does a good job at that. I'm surprised Atlanta hasn't, added somebody to their ownership group yet, but
I think it'll happen now.
Need it. Yeah. I don't know if they need it though. Like Uncle Arthur is chilling. But I think it was smart from their perspective. It's a good marketing tool, a good way to integrate, a marketing push and a marketing pull within the urban community, by, bringing in, somebody like Yo Gotti, who's, very popular. I don't know how popular he is in the DC area, but very popular in hip hop just in general. And he signed with Rock Nation. So, they got a smart team over there. Like they probably was like,
Exactly.
yo, this is a play for you.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Rock Nation. Yeah, especially with the way Rock Nation's like emphasizing soccer, like all the European talent they got. They got KD, who, well, technically they don't got KD, but they do got KD. With his investment in Philly, so you can see they're making that push. They're making that push.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm pretty sure it was some people in that building that helped make that help put that play together. You know what I'm saying?
They set that one up. Yeah,
for sure. And also this week, Chicago Fire fired their head coach Raphael Wiki after 2 years at the helm. And Amobi had some comments on Twitter about this.
Making jokes,
basically saying that
don't take me serious.
Basically saying that the Fire are going to hire some expensive consulting firm to overhaul the team when they could have hired him 10 times cheaper. So, here's your shot. How would you overhaul the Fire?
Well, first and foremost, let me not downplay myself. Like I'm a charge a pretty penny too. If these consulting companies are getting away with it. Sure. But yeah. So Chicago Fire, they haven't made the playoffs they've made the playoffs twice in the last 12 years, which is unacceptable considering the history of Chicago Fire and just Chicago as a soccer city, home of U.S. soccer, big metropolitan population. It's like you wouldn't imagine Chicago Fire to be where it is now. And obviously for a multitude of reasons, they just haven't got it right. And let me not, downplay the coach Wiki because, whether it's I'm sure it's for a combination of things, but I do know he was taking care of his father who was ill back in Switzerland. So that may or may not have played a role. So condolences to him and his family, and hopefully his dad gets well soon. But from the standpoint of Chicago Fire, they got a new owner who has buku money, but still it hasn't changed. So for me, first and foremost, at least to fix it initially, you got to get a coach that's experienced, that's knows the league, that understands. And when I say knows the league, that doesn't mean they have to be one of the old guard coaches. They just they've been in the league for quite some time, whether they played or if they've been involved, assistant coach. You got to get someone that knows the league, understands it, knows what works, and they got to fix their spine. So I'm looking at their roster right now. No disrespect, you never want to disrespect another player. It's hard to be a pro, but Kapelhoff has been there 4 or 5 years, hasn't proved himself. Calvo's been there 4 or 5 years. International has improved himself. They got the spine of your team needs to be improved. They have no MLS veterans that have been proven winners. A lot of internationals. I would rehaul the whole team. There's pretty much out of the whole roster, I'm probably going to keep 4 players, to be honest. Some of the guys I don't even know, and that's partly because I just don't watch them. They're not exciting. But out of their roster that I'm looking at right now, I'm only keeping 4 players. Probably Barrick, Bornstein, one of the goalies, and then the homegrown Pineda. He's a good young player. Actually, I'll keep the other homegrowns too because they haven't been able to prove themselves. But outside of that, everyone else got to go. Fix the spine, get you some MLS veterans, get you a DP, preferably, as history has shown, from Argentina or Brazil or Colombia. Get a forward that's going to guarantee you 10, 12 plus goals, and you're going to give yourself a fighting chance. The good thing about MLS is you don't have to be the best team. You just have to be a solid team. And the team that's not really going to make mistakes. And more often than not, you're going to win more games than you lose. And you're going to give yourself a chance to make the playoffs. And then once you make the playoffs, anything can happen. And then outside of that, you definitely got to fix their community relationships. So with how big Chicago is, with the amount of talent that comes out of Chicago, they got to do a better job of that. So definitely would kind of get some of the old guard that's familiar with Chicago, like the youth scene, Mikey Stevens, Chris Schuler, Mike McGee, Makovich, Baki, Frank Klopas, people that know Chicago through and through, and connect with the magic of the world, the soccers of the world, connect with them. You got to revamp their community relationships, their youth development, that pipeline. Tap into the Mexican community for sure. When they had Cuauhtemoc Blanco, that was like the last time Chicago was like good. So you got to figure out a way to get some Mexican talent, or tap into that market. So how I mentioned earlier, maybe instead of an Argentinian DP or a Brazilian DP, you get a Mexican DP, and like just tap into that. And then from there, if you win, you're good. You're at Soldier Field. First and foremost, you just gotta stop the leaks and then go from there. But yeah, that's what I would do. So I know some people be listening to our podcast, our show that don't act like they listen. So if you want to give us a call, you know where to find us.
Yeah, the consulting bag is open.
Because people be listening, but they be acting like they don't.
Yeah, it's always like that. Another thing you can do, like mentioning like community outreach, doing like an all cities tournament or something like that with all the youth clubs from around the city in the suburbs. Bring everybody to one place. The final be at Soldier Field. You know what I'm saying? And like use that as like a recruiting pipeline for your academy. Yep. I don't know what their academy is like or what their academy is doing, but use that as a recruiting pipeline for your academy. Bring these good homegrown players into your academy and like build them up. Like that's how you build loyalty.
Tap into the men's leagues out there. I know they got like intense men's league out there. Do what you need to do to increase that pipeline, increase that community for sure.
They got to do something. It looks like the Bears are trying to move out of Soldier Field, and head to the suburbs. They're trying to build a new stadium out there, so they may have Soldier Field to themselves. I know initially when they moved to Soldier Field, the idea was to stay there until they could build another downtown, build a downtown stadium. So I don't know how that's going to work right now, but you about to have Soldier Field to yourself.
Yeah,
like hit the gas hard.
Take advantage of that.
For sure.
It should be interesting.
And speaking of money. Yeah, for real. And speaking of recruiting Mexicans and recruiting from Mexico and the Mexican contingent that's across the entire country. When a Mexican team comes to the States, they show up and show out. They're definitely gonna rep for their country for sure. Let's talk about this new Leagues Cup structure. So
good podcasting right there.
So last week, MLS and Liga MX announced an expansion of the Leagues Cup. So under the new format, every MLS and Liga MX team will participate in a World Cup style tournament spanning 1 month in August. So both teams will pause their seasons for that time and play this competition with the top 3 finishers gaining CCL berths. So what are your thoughts on like this expanded cup?
I think it's great. I think, especially as a lead up to the World Cup, I think they're strategically making this move. But I think it's great, more exposure for a lot of the players, and in more games means hopefully increased rosters. So you're going to give younger guys a chance. You're going to get, more talent exposed, more games. So definitely want to figure out like scheduling around that. Is the season going to go later? Is the season going to start earlier? What's that look like? But from the standpoint of like increasing exposure, more opportunities for some of the younger players, hopefully, if the coaches and organizations are smart, I'm all for it. And then better chance for a lot of teams to hopefully have a chance to qualify for CCL, because right now Liga MX teams are kicking our ass.
Yeah, I mean, I think the season's supposed to start a couple weeks earlier for MLS in February. So that gives us kind of like to make up for those games that they're missing during that month. There's a couple things that kind of came up with this new structure. One of them was, as you mentioned, expanded roster. Like how deep can the rosters go? Like the best Liga MX teams and the best MLS teams are probably going to be the ones that end up going longer into the competition. Yeah. So what happens to the teams that get knocked out early, that don't make it out of the group stages? Are they sitting there? Do they have like an extended preseason, mid-season preseason? Now, like, do they play extra games? Like, are they just sitting around for another 3 weeks until, the season resumes? Yeah. So like, there's a couple holes in there that, we need to kind of figure out and see what happens with. But I definitely think this is that merged league that people were talking about. Like, it's not going to be like a MLS and Liga MX merge 100%, it was always probably going to be something like this. Even the commissioner was like, we're not going to merge leagues, but we'll figure out ways to like continue to work together. And, you know, this Leagues Cup, especially with it being played primarily in the States and in Canada, that means, you know, more exposure, more money into the coffers for MLS cities. But it also means Liga MX teams get access to that, you know, that money as well. The money that they're chasing, and then the MLS teams are looking for, they're trying to, you know, increase the fan bases, you know, increase, you know, their Mexican fan bases in the States, which is never going to happen, especially if their team is playing in the States anyway. Like, I don't see how that's going to happen. You're not going to switch your loyalties like that. But
yeah, I think the thing is, and that's a great point that you brought up, because like when Philly played Club America, it was like a away game for Philly. In like Club America, like they had fans that drove. Like
that's
literally,
any MLS team that plays a Mexican team. Like it's an away game for them.
It's almost like, all right, you have your Liga MX team, but maybe you fall in love with Philly, and now Philadelphia is your American team. And if you're like close to the area, like next time there's a game, you know, obviously you're going to watch your Club America, you're going to watch your Liga MX, but now you have a team stateside that you can support and actually be there. And then, you know, whether you want to support some of the Mexican Americans on the team or international talent or local talent, you have like your American team. So it's going to be interesting to see how MLS handles that, or like builds a marketing strategy around like retaining some of the fans that will come into their communities. But Liga MX, they're loving it. Like more exposure, like increase their market share.
We get to play in front of our American fans, and we split the profits on that. Yeah.
And we keep winning. Like it's
easy for them. Easy. So I think another thing that would be smart is to eventually, you know, play games in Mexico as well. You know what I'm saying? Don't just play all the games in the United States and in Canada. Like there's market for MLS teams to gain fans in Mexico. That's at true. The same time. Like there's Argentinian fans, there's Mexican fans that are like Atlanta United fans because of the players that they recruit. You know what I'm saying? And even coming down there and playing in like CCL, like they gain fans from that.
Exactly.
So it works both ways at the same time. Like you want to expand your market as much as you can, like not just in the States, but outside of the States as well. Especially if you're going to be, you know, blurring the lines like that.
Oh, facts. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. I mean, I like it, honestly. Like I'm all about the chaos. Like I like to see, you know, the capitalism and like how sports and business works together. I think it's a smart move on both ends. You know, there's some people, some purists that are like, you know, what about the Open Cup, all this other stuff? And, you know, I mean, they canceled the Open Cup like the last 2 years, right? So
yeah, but it's
how important has that been? How important has that been to? I know how important it is for lower league teams.
Yeah,
but for MLS, how important has that been to them? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, only
for them to be able to like,
few clubs only take it seriously.
Yeah, for them to be able to throw it to the side the way that they do is often, you know, and really they're the ones controlling it because Garber was talking about, we need to figure out another format for the Open Cup. MLS will figure out what it needs to do with the Open Cup instead of the federation. Like MLS will figure out what it needs to do.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Who's running this? You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting. I didn't know he didn't say. I didn't know he said that. But like, you got to have Open Cup just for the sake of the history around Open Cup, and you know, for the lower leagues. Like you got to love those feel good stories. Obviously, wasn't the last team like from a lower league. I think with Puerto Rico, like that went to the finals or actually won it. You got to have a chance to give those teams, you know, opportunity for CCL berth, you know, to make money with like a large Open Cup run. But I definitely think they should restructure it in terms of like, all right, in terms of the playing rounds, and then the fact like the home and the away, or who hosts the game based on whether it's like who pays more, that's got to go. Whether it's like a coin toss. I think a way to make it more exciting is like the lower league, whoever is like lower gets to host the game. So, for example, if like an NPSL team makes like a large run, that's a great way for them to, you know, make some money. Obviously, it's not ideal for an MLS team to like go and do like a high school locker, but that's the beauty of what you can make Open Cup, like a USL team as well, and MLS team. I'm not sure how they would do it if MLS plays in MLS, but that's for Garber to figure out apparently, since he's making the rules.
Yep.
But I feel like you still got to have that, whether or not a lower league wins it, but it's the CCL birth, it's the history, it's the it's us.
Yeah, with all these competitions, like it's becoming more and more like European soccer.
Mm-hmm.
England, they have like 3 cup competitions.
Yeah, facts.
Plus Champions League / Europa League. So having that here, of course, that's a lot of strain on players. That's a lot of games played, a lot of miles on the legs, which is why I think MLS Next and all these other things are coming apart. So it makes it easier to move players up and down.
Yeah.
From the first team to the reserves and stuff like that. Versus, trying to work with USL and their rules and like 2 different organizations.
Exactly.
It makes it a little bit more convoluted. So having MLS Next, I think we see the purse strings loosen up a little bit on the spending. Expect to see, some high ticket, high prospect players coming in from out the country onto MLS Next squads.
You think so?
Yeah, providing that depth. Atlanta United is great at it. They pull these guys up from like Argentina and Brazil and put them on the USL 2 squad. Put them on the Atlanta United 2 squad. So,
but they don't play for Atlanta United 2. They just there for like a little bit, just to.
They play for Atlanta United 2, but
like consistently.
Yeah, but then they train with the first team as well. And so when we need them, if an injury happens or something like that, we pull them up, or if we sell somebody off, boom, we move them up to the first team. So we got these, under 22, like under 22 DPs and stuff on the team, loan them down to a USL team, and keep them in the tuck for set keeping later.
Yeah, I see.
I see a lot more of that finessing happening. It's gonna be a lot of GMs that get exposed if they can't make it work.
Yeah.
So that should be fun. So let's move on to.
Real quick. Speaking of Atlanta, they're doing a lot of stuff with that mechanism of getting foreign talent, but they need to fix their homegrown situation too, because outside of George Campbell, they ain't really.
George Bello?
George Bello. Yeah, George Bello and George Campbell. Who else?
Jackson Conway is on the first team. He's
plays
from the academy. Yeah, he plays. He comes in he's comes off the bench, but he plays. He plays a good amount.
Okay, they're still they're like 3 for 10 so far. They need to work on that as well.
We're not like Dallas level. We're not
Yeah.
Real Salt Lake level, but our homegrowns are getting national team call ups and stuff like that. So
okay,
it's a good look.
Yeah, one. Let's take that. I just had to point that out.
I don't know if you can count. You can't really count Miles Robinson as a homegrown, but we drafted him.
Yeah, I'll give credit. Yeah, Miles and Julian when y'all had him.
Julian Grussel.
Yeah. That's like I feel like that's the missing piece with Atlanta. Like, get your homegrowns consistently right, and it's like, yeah, it's good. The sky's obviously the limit.
Hey, George Campbell looking like he's about to.
He's
Robinson out there. You know what I'm saying?
He's impressive.
As soon as Miles moves out the way, George can plug right in.
For sure.
I'm pretty sure there's some other kids right behind him that are like really good. So they're making their way up to the USL team, and
that's how you're supposed to do it.
Eventually, they'll get to the first team. But
yeah, that's exactly how it's supposed to be done.
I think we'll be all right. All right, so moving on to the other top flight league in this country, the NWSL. The NWSL is burning right now. It's
sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but
it's in a heap of fire, bro.
It's getting hot over there.
There's been 3 major stories that have come out over the past few weeks. First one, Washington Spirit organization is in shambles, and they have a toxic culture in their front office and throughout the coaching staff that's been recently exposed. There's a Washington Post article that came out kind of exposing some of the abuse that their former head coach has been presenting toward the players. One of them being, our sister, 2 Cents squad, Kaya McCullough. And she was brave enough to speak out on the record in that article. So salute to her for that, for sure. And she also went on her own podcast, Unfiltered with Kaya McCullough, and gave her side of the story. So if you haven't listened to that yet, make sure you listen to that wherever you find podcasts, as well as 2centsports.com. And it's so bad to the point where there's the supporters groups are calling for the ownership to sell the team now, So shout out to our guy, Douglas Reyes Saron from the Rose Room Collective, who's been spearheading the supporter-led push for Steve Baldwin to sell the team. Want to commend his work. But I don't know if you've been following this, but like, what are your thoughts on like that situation in Washington right now?
No, so I've been following a little bit. Shout out to 2Cents Sports for keeping me updated. But it's reckless, and mad respect for the people to stand up and share their thoughts and their experiences, and stick their neck out, because it's not easy. But yeah, something has to be done, like yesterday, because this is not acceptable at all. Like I feel bad for like laughing, because it's not a laughing matter, but like, come on, what's going on here? It's like it's really getting reckless. So
yeah, and it's crazy. What's crazy is like I've been getting hit up by like male players.
Yeah.
Like, yo, this happens in the men's game as well. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's not just the women's game.
Yeah.
Like for one, we should be protecting women at all costs. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a women's league, first priority should be protecting the women who play in your league.
Exactly.
So, I mean, this stuff shouldn't be happening at all. That's first. But then second of all, like, what does it say about the culture of soccer in general? It's like this happens on the men's side as well, I don't know to the levels of that. I don't know if there's anything you could speak to, but it's happening on both sides, and it's crazy.
No, I think when I don't want to speak too much, but there are certain situations where you just abuse the power that you have, and it's at the end of the day, like, I think this quote was said to me early on. It's like, yo, if you take care of the players, you're going to have a good environment. So that should be the number one focus. But when, people get power and, they get to do things without any backlash, they kind of abuse it. So obviously this is a situation where that has been prevalent. But the focus needs to be like, yo, take care of the players. That should be, it's not about you. It's not about that. It's about the players. If the players can, feel comfortable and perform at a high level, then it helps you. It helps the fans. It helps the community. It helps everything else. But for some reason, that doesn't seem to be the case a lot of times.
Yeah. And this is just like the biggest story that's happening. And there's more to this. There's some stuff that came out today that we'll touch on in a second. But even like before this, the Gotham FC GM mysteriously resigned or what have you, or was fired with nothing really said about why. And it comes out that there's abuse, harassment allegations and abuse of power allegations with that situation. I believe Louisville, Racing Louisville fired their coach recently for the same reason. I think it was around the same time that this Washington Spirit stuff came out. He was fired for being abusive as well toward the players. And then today, Meg Linehan from The Athletic released an article detailing the sexually predatory and manipulative tactics of former Thorns and NC Courage head coach Paul Riley. And further adding to what has become a trend of toxic culture, within the NWSL. And then to add to that, Racing Louisville player Nadia Nadim calls the league a joke. So she went on Twitter and was like, yo, this league is a joke. She pulled the receipts on wrongdoing that happened to her. Right? Yeah. So if you guys aren't familiar, in a nutshell, when she played for Sky Blue, which is now Gotham FC, she had an option on her contract to extend a year but was told that, typically doesn't happen. You can do whatever you're going to do. Right. And so she was prepping to move to the Portland Thorns, but somehow, some way, her contract got extended that 1 year. And her signature was forged to extend that contract. And in turn, Sky Blue was able to, run off with the bag on the Thorns in order to push the trade through or to push the transfer through, which is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And apparently the league has to sign off on that. So somebody knew something, and, Nadia and her team were unaware until, the stuff came out that, I didn't sign this,
Yeah.
And, nothing really happened. So that's there's other fraudulent things going on in the background aside from, the abuse of players and the toxic masculinity that happens in the coaching staffs and stuff like that. So like just overall, what are your thoughts on like where does the league go from here? Like what do they need to do? Like what's gonna happen?
Well, based on what I've been reading on Twitter, it seems like a couple more people have to go. I think when this happens, you got to do like a whole culture change. So sometimes you got to cut the head of the snake, and really plant some new seeds, because right now it's a lot of things are getting getting swept under the rug, and now people are starting to vacuum and starting to lift the carpet up and seeing the league for what it really is. So it's not good, especially during this unique time when they're trying to grow the league. They're getting more exposure, getting more money and revenue and different things into the sport. This is not the time for these things to be happening. It's never the right time, actually. But in terms of like trying to grow the game and trying to make the NWSL like a place for young women to explore their passion of soccer, and you don't want this. So whatever it takes to change the culture, restructure a lot of things, whether it's from the club level, whether it's from the league level, whether it's continually supporting the NWSLPA, and shout out to the NWSLPA for really backing their players. But you need to do something, and you need to do it now, because right now I feel like they have a lot of leverage, not only the players but the league. But if this continues, then it's going to be all for nothing.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, you got to cut off the head of the snake, and the head means the commissioner. Commissioner got to go. She's doing a horrible job. Like, and clearly she's been complicit in some of this stuff. Come to find out, she was on the Olympic, like one of the U.S. Olympic Committee or something like that, working in like the marketing department or something like that. When all of this,
they all get recycled. Yeah. So.
Yeah, when all of this abuse is happening with the the gymnastics team. So like, you're complicit.
What? Wait, hold up. Word?
Yeah, I think she was there at the same time as all that shit was happening. So it's like you got a history of like covering shit up for these toxic dudes and sweeping their shit under the rug. You know what I'm saying? So you carried that over to NWSL with you and allowed it to continue to happen. So you out of here. You got to go for sure.
Yeah.
And
but
then
it's even more important like who they bring in. It's like you can't just bring someone like that's right under the commissioner. Like you bring
you gotta be somebody from outside.
And like get your Carfax. Like you gotta check these people.
For sure. Yeah, it's crazy. Alex Morgan pulled the receipts on her. If you're on Twitter following, I don't know, you're listening to this Friday. I'm sure you probably, if you're following this, you have seen those by now. So shit's getting shifty, man, and hopefully it comes out for the better, for sure. Like I really want to see things come out for the better. I believe that this league can be the best in the world, and even saying like these issues are probably happening in every league. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully this is the start to like clean house everywhere, because these women don't deserve that. They deserve to play and be their best. They don't have to worry about some creepy ass dude harassing them or trying to manipulate and control their lives.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm probably not the most like qualified to speak on all this. Like I'm gonna leave that to the homies, Shea Butter C, Diaspora United. I'm pretty sure they'll have a very deep analysis on this, so make sure you type into their next episodes when they come out. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that for right now. Try to wipe that taste out of my mouth a little bit.
Nah, thanks.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to no card, yellow card, red card. Clear the air a little bit. Sage this joint up a little bit. All right, so if you're not familiar with no card, yellow card, red card, it's a rapid fire game that we play here on the show where I'll read off some news topics. And usually if we have a guest, Amobi and the guest will rate the topics based on the soccer card system. No card is I agree with it, I'm cool with it. Yellow card is I can go either way. Red card is I disagree or I'm not cool with it. And they'll give their explanation. But since we don't have a guest this week, I will be rating as well. So first up, New Amsterdam FC owner Lawrence Gerard has placed himself as a starter in goal for their recent match against Detroit City FC. Following in the footsteps of Ronnie Brunswick, the vice president of Suriname and owner of a pro team, in which he put in a 60-minute shift against Olympia in CONCACAF League play. So what card are we giving these owners living out their pro dreams through the clubs that they own?
Hey, I'm giving the no card. I love it. Yo, this is so funny. Only no card because I definitely think I would do something like this for sure. But let me be serious. Yellow, red card for the 60-year-old for sure. Come on, man.
Okay.
Yeah, red card for him for sure. And I heard he's like part of Corruption FC. So
for sure. Known drug trafficker. He was in Olympia's locker room passing out cash. Like how you passing out cash to the opposing team after the game? Like, thank you for whooping our ass.
Like, yo,
just a little bonus.
Yeah, so he wilding. The goalkeeper, I actually want to know what he does and how he, got into the ownership group. What like?
And I think the GM was like on the bench. So he was like,
so they're out here playing real life fantasy, and I got to give him a yellow card too because like you hired a coach and then he wasn't playing you, and then you fired him. So why don't you just have a coach from the beginning that's like, yo, I'm the owner, I'm gonna play, so make it work.
Oh, that's what happened.
Yeah, that's the rumor on the Twitter. That's why Jermaine Jones left because he was.
Oh, word.
Yeah, so apparently, but for shits and giggles, like. If you see me playing for an NPSL team that I am a part of, don't be surprised.
That's the PSL though. Like,
yeah.
Like
Nisa
this
too.
Nisa.
I would do it for Nisa too.
I'm playing. This is Nisa, USL, like MLS. Think about that. Like Merritt Paulson out there playing for the Timbers and shit. Like at defensive mid.
If there was one
shits
owner,
and giggles, bro.
If there was one owner at MLS that I would like guess to do that, it would be Merritt Paulson though. He's like so invested into the team. He loves his team. Like if you saw him against the 6-1 win, he was dancing. But even he's smart enough to be like, yo, I'm gonna let the players rock out and I'm gonna be out here.
Yeah. Red card for me for sure. On both ends.
Really?
Like you own the team, like bruh, like be serious about this shit. Don't be unserious about this shit. Like your team got his ass whooped because you out there playing around. Like put a professional in place and win the game. Like live your glory out by winning the league. You know what I'm saying? Like go play, go start a pickup team, start a Sunday league team, and then go play on that team.
Exactly. You know like start a pickup team that plays like before the professionals or something.
Yeah.
I'm definitely cashing out my players though for sure. After the game, briefcase, like, yo, I'm definitely doing that. Yeah.
All right, we see what you want. We see what time you on.
Hey,
sure.
you gotta entice your players for that.
All right, next up, Premier League club Wolverhampton is launching their own record label called Wolves Records. So the hopes with this record label is to find artists in the local area and in the countries where some of their top players are from, and to use that music for like TV, movie syncs, and video game licensing. So what card are we giving Wolves for starting a record label while being a mid-table club?
No card. I think this is like really creative. It's different than what other clubs are doing. I think it entices the community, especially, like the English rap scene or English music scene in that area. I'm not sure how it is, but it's going to get the community involved. It's going to be a different way to be creative and engaging. So I think it's cool. And Wolverhampton, they're never going to be like a top club like that. So
yeah,
might as well do it now.
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say yellow card, just because they are a perpetually mid-table team, and invest that money in like getting more players and like becoming top of the table. You know what I'm saying? That's only for that reason. But other than that, I think it's super dope. I think it's a creative, as you said, create a creative marketing tactic as well.
For sure.
Like as you mentioned, like especially if you sign in local artists, you know, that increases your fan base. So as they grow their fan base, you know, that's in turn, you know, you can use them as a marketing tool for the club. You know, so I think it's smart in that way. For sure.
If there's an MLS team to do that outside of Atlanta, who would you want them? Because I know
outside of Atlanta, MLS team to do it. I could see New York City FC doing it. Red Bull, obviously, they already have a record label. Yeah, Red Bull already has a record label, so I could see them, you know, amping up on that. Yeah. I could see Portland doing it on some like ironic, like hipster shit.
Yeah.
Let me see who else. Those are the only two that kind of stand out. You said you took Atlanta out the equation, so those are the only two that really kind of stand out to me.
That's a good shout. Maybe like a Nashville.
Yeah. Some country shit.
Yeah. I don't know how you going. It's going to be really diverse. You got country and then some southern hits.
Speaking of music, though, we had a question from the Twitter sphere. Our guy Carson asked, "What your pregame playlist is?" Carson.
Oh, you said pregame playlist or like? Because I think I saw that question. He's like,
okay, hold on. I'm gonna be accurate with this.
Okay.
If Moby can only listen to one album forever before a match, what would it be?
Forever? Damn, that's crazy. Just College Dropout, Kanye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
Should have went triple. Wait, maybe it did go triple. I think did it go diamond?
I think it went diamond. Yeah. Like that's like no skips on that album.
Okay. Yeah. All right. No. I don't have one, but we'll move on. Last one. Nike co-founder Phil Knight and other prominent Oregon alumni have announced the formation of Division Street Incorporated to assist Oregon athletes in building their brand and monetizing their NIL. So Division Street will partner with Oregon's Warsaw Sports Marketing Center and the newly formed Oregon Accelerator, bringing Oregon marketing students into the action. So what card are we giving this move by Knight, in University of Oregon?
No cards. This is amazing. This is what it's all about. Shout out to Phil Knight. You know, he's seeing the benefits of what NIL can bring, specifically to Oregon, and I think this is a great marketing tool, a great recruiting tool. Yeah, it's going to be a game changer. So I'm excited to see what it does for those Oregon athletes. I mean, they already got a cheat code. Like he is the founder of Nike. So
Nike U.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to make Oregon the powerhouse that it continues to aspire to be.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. No card. I think it's super, super brilliant of them, especially from a school standpoint, exactly. Like a school embracing NIL and like putting together tools for the students to be able to capitalize off of that, but also bringing in students from their own marketing programs. And so like to give them a leg up on like how to manage and how to work these NIL deals. So when they graduate, boom, they can start NIL agencies or agencies that, specialize in NIL. They have that experience already. I think it's super, super smart. But you already got players. I think Sabrina Ionescu, however you pronounce her last name, forgive me.
Chief Athlete Officer, right?
Yeah, Chief Athlete Officer. But then you got like star players like Kayvon Thibodeau, who just launched his own cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
This is a potential first round pick out of Oregon, launched his own cryptocurrency. So like capitalizing on that NIL and, really taking that to the next level. So I think it's super dope.
Yeah, it's I think a lot of other schools. I mean, you're never gonna have like another Phil Knight, but a lot of schools can take note on how to apply this kind of partnership and initiative for their programs. Yeah. Cough, cough, UCLA, y'all sleep over there. Golly. Don't get me started. Sorry.
That's it.
Yeah, so that's it. First and foremost, just like to thank you guys for continuing to support our show, our channel, our platform. Apologies, a lot of things in the work. I tried to get Elle to, share a little bit about what's going on, but you guys are just going to have to wait. Announcement season is coming. Yep. And that's our show for this week. So subscribe, rate, and review. It helps us get discovered. Follow us on the socials at 2Cents FC. Check out our merch at 2centsports.shop. We're not rocking any of the gear right now.
Fourth quarter cozy season is coming. Cozy season is coming.
Cozy season is coming.
Be on the lookout for that drop. It's coming soon. That's part of announcement season, but give you a little something.
Perfect. I love it.
We leveling up this year.
That is for sure. Like I just been hearing rumblings of what's going on. I don't even get all the information, so I'm excited to hear too. If you enjoy the show, consider dropping us a donation using the link in the description. It helps support the costs associated with the show. Elle's working long hours to edit, graphics, all that stuff. It takes a lot of hard work, so your support matters. And then tweet us your comments on the show and any topics you want me or Elle to discuss, questions, themes. If you guys want us to do like a fake consulting for your favorite club, whatever that looks like, tweet us in the comments. Shout out to Carson. Shout out to everyone else. We'll be here, and that's it.
Oh yeah, and before we go, congrats to Joseph Martinez, fastest to 100 goals in MLS. The king at the Rockets. I was gonna wear it backwards like the St. Lunatics, but I decided not to. But rocking his
shout out to y'all's president Earls for the reenactment.
Darren Neals,
yeah. That's good. That's good engagement with your community.
Yeah, he does a really good job at that. Yeah. He's taking shots before the game. You know what I'm saying? Shotgun and stuff at the tailgate. So Darren Neals is definitely a good president. Make sure the shit stays tight in the front office, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, while you're having fun, make sure we keep the pipeline oiled up. You know what I mean? So till next week, y'all. Peace out.
Peace.